If you feel that the summer is over, don't worry, because I'm going to bring a little bit of sunshine into your life. This beer from Deya, called Sunshine. It's an IPA, it's got Sabro, it's got Citra, it's got Idaho 7. But what's it going to taste like? Keep on watching to find out. Welcome back to Rocker's Beer Review. Today we're going to be reviewing the third beer from Deya. This is Sunshine. It's an IPA, and it is also it says it's drawing inspiration from our collaboration beer with the other half. Sunshine is a tropical IPA with Citra, Idaho 7 and Sabro. I live my life in the sunshine. This was a beer that I remember being really good. I think I've had one of my subscribers comment on some of the Deya videos that we've done, and said that when they were in at the Deya tap room, they really enjoyed Sunshine. And I looked at this one and I thought, yeah, I'm always in two minds with Sabro, but I've suddenly gone back the other way now. I really enjoy it. I think it's a great summery beer because it gives that big pineapple, coconut, tropical sort of aromas and flavours. And it's a big aromatic sort of hop Sabro. And it's very dominant. But I remember when I had this at the tap room, that it just hit a real good sweet spot. I mean, Idaho 7 can sometimes bring a lot of sort of pineapple notes as well. Citra's a bit more tropical and citrus fruits, but the combination seems to work. And that's, for me, that's what Sabro's about. When it's at its best, it's when it's mixed with a couple of other hops, so it doesn't overwhelm the beer. But let's crack this open, get it into a glass, and see whether if it's as good now as it was when I had it in the tap room. Certainly the other two, it's got a lot to build up to. Two beers that we've reviewed so far have both hit the sort of high 80s, so this has got a lot of work to do if it's going to be as good as that. Certainly beer in a glass, again, look at the colour of that. So we've got a lovely, hazy, custardy, perfectly sort of big yellow haze. In fact, this is as yellow as you're going to get. We've got 3 fingers of you can see how white and sort of ice white head that is. Very compacted, looks pretty good. I'd almost say that's the best looking out of the 3, really. Perfectly beautiful, nice hazy yellow, looks pretty good. Let's see what the aroma's like. Well, quite interesting because the aroma on this one is a little bit more subtle. Yes, you're getting little bits of pineapple, and there's a sort of tropicalness about it all, but it's not as strong as Better Days, or certainly, which I think was probably the best of the aroma, the Something Good 15, which was the chiropod. But yeah, definitely a little understated on the aroma, but certainly looks the part. So let's see if it tastes as good as it looks. Cheers, everyone. Really sweet, but a real creaminess about it. I would almost say that this one is the creamiest of all the Deya beers. And Deya do great, soft, pillowy mouthfeels. You know, if you're playing sort of Deya bingo in any of my videos and you had, you know without a doubt that the pillowy, soft mouthfeel is going to be something you're going to tick on your bingo card. Because this is, again, another very typical Deya sort of beer. And you know what? It's not as overpowering in terms of its flavour, but I think that's actually that's better, especially when we're talking about Sabro, because as I said, Sabro can very easily over-dominate a beer. Can really sort of, even when it is mixed with your Citras or with El Dorado or in this case Idaho 7. And a lot of the beers we've had have had Sabro in it. Have got maybe Citra, Mosaic, and other things like that in them, and it overpowers them to the point is like that. There's no doubt that there's Sabro in it. This one is a little bit much. I say a little bit. It's a much more subtle. Yes, it's got that creamy pineapple, pina colada, that pineapple, coconut, sometimes you get that sort of almost like creamy mint sort of flavour, and it's pretty close to having that sort of flavour, that creamy mint. But it is held back. The Citra in it is obviously holding it back. The Idaho 7 is holding it back. And you'd think, well, is that a bad thing? But actually, it's a really good thing in terms of Sabro, because it means that it's been really well balanced to get that Sabro flavour, but not to let it over dominate the beer. It's amazing how creamy this is. I would say out of all the beers, it's definitely got the creamiest mouthfeel. And from a Deya beer, that is saying something in the fact that how much creamier this is. Yeah, I mean, it's so well balanced. So you're getting pineapple, little pockets of coconut, but it's a lot more subtle than you normally would get. And then there's this sort of slight creamy mint, and then you get this sort of lime on the back end, which is again a very Sabro-esque sort of flavour. That lime really on the back, and you get a little bit of other citrus, lemons, a little bit of grapefruit. In fact, I'd almost say that I prefer this to the other beers in terms of its flavour. Yes, the aroma wasn't as big, but it looks pretty good. I mean, it looks pretty good. It looks absolutely amazing, really, for me. This is what I want my beer to look like. And the mouthfeel on this one, it's like, oh, it's so creamy, really, really creamy. And you do know that there's Sabro in it, but you'd have to look twice, really. Where a lot of the time when you see Sabro in beers, you go, yep, that's got Sabro in it straight away. This one is a little bit more subtle, and that is to its betterment for the beer, I think. Oh, it's another cracking Deya beer. I'm at this point where I'm thinking, well, you could have all the three that we've had so far: the Better Days, Something Good 15, which was the Cairo Pop, and this one. There's not much between them. They're just all so good. And I think when beers are all that great, it's difficult, you know. If you're talking about a beer that may have got, in my scoring, 88, 86, 83, 84, 85, whatever it would be, they're really cracking beers, and they're beers that you've got to definitely try. This is a really good... If you've got any sort of liking of Sabro, this is a great beer. If you've had Sabro before and you think, well, it's a bit too much for me, I still think you'd get a lot from this, because this is, to me, the best use of Sabro hop in a beer that I've had. Yeah. It's that creamy mint lime on the back end. But it's just, it's subtle though. It's there, but it is subtle. And for me as a reviewer, I'm looking for those characteristics, and I'm getting them, but I've had them in other beers with Sabro in, where it overpowers. I even like, you know, I love Polly's. I had a Polly's beer with Sabro in it a few months ago, and I thought it was too much. It really was a little bit too much. The Sabro was over dominant in the blend, but Deya have really cracked it with this one. It's a perfect balance. If you taste this and you think, oh, it's got Sabro in it, I haven't had that before, you go out and seek beers with Sabro in it, because it does give that little bit of extra. I think it's the added creaminess, and there is that creamy mint in there. Which is weird, because when you sort of have creamy mint in a sort of fruity beer, you think that doesn't really work. But it balances it out really well, that big tropical pineapple. And then you get that creamy mint and that sort of real sharp, zesty lime on the back end. It's a cracking beer, really, really good. And as I said, I think out of the three, it's got the best mouthfeel. It's another winner from Deya. So let's get some scores. Okay, the scores are in for Sunshine IPA from Deya. It's got Idaho 7, it's got Citra, and it's got Sabro in it. And it's drawing inspiration from their collaboration beer with Other Half. It says it draws inspiration, but it isn't actually a collaboration. It's just, they did a collaboration, they got some ideas, and then they got inspired and they made this. This is a great summery beer. I mean, it really is. It's got all those big hits of tropicalness, coconut, little pockets of coconut, perfectly, a real creamy, it's probably the creamiest of the creamiest mouthfeels that you'll find in a Deya beer. And if you know Deya beer, you know that they're known for their mouthfeels, but this is even more creamy than normal. But the scores. Aroma was the first thing that I was a little bit disappointed. Again, I always feel that sometimes that when I first pop it open, you usually get a great hit of tropical aromas and you think, yeah, this is a great beer. But this one, you didn't really get that. And even when I put it to my nose, yes, I was getting a tropical hit, but not really as big as some of the other beers. I think that now it's starting to, now it's been sitting in the glass for a few minutes, the aroma is starting to come a little bit more to the fore. And then straight away, when I smell it now, I know there's Sabro in this beer. You get that pineapple, that pina colada, sort of coconutty, with that real cutting, zesty lime on the sort of on the back end of an aroma. You know, it seems weird when you sort of get an aroma that sort of starts one thing and then it comes into another. But with this one, you go, oh, pineapple, and then you take it away, you go, something sweet in there, coconut, and there's that creamy Murray mint sort of aroma as well, and then lime. And that to me is Sabro all over. So it's got a big Sabro sort of aroma with, obviously it's got Sabro in it. But I think it's not as good as some of the other ones. It's not as, I don't know, not as inviting, I don't think, as some of the other beers that we've had from this sort of Deya range. But it's all, and it's also got a sort of, a slight sort of, I always find it weird saying it, but I can't. But that's what I'm smelling. I'm getting a slight sort of vegetable sort of aroma in there, you know. Which, you know, we get beers with that. We get IPAs we have that. Verdant are very sort of characteristic of that. But this has got definitely a slight vegetable sort of thing. And this beer is going to be dead fresh. I'm looking at the can. This is actually canned on the 29th for the 7th. It's like 2 weeks old, this beer. So in terms of beer, I mean, I recently reviewed the Something Good, and that was actually 5th, I think it was, the 5th of August. So that was pretty much a week, just over a week. But this you can get that sort of big smell. Maybe after you've had, this has been sitting in you've had it for, the can's been a couple of weeks old, you may get that vegetable sort of smell may go, but it definitely has that sort of slight vegetable aroma. So it's not as inviting, I don't think, as some of the others. Not as citrusy, fresh and zestiness. So I'm going to give it 13. I've waffled on enough and we get to the 13 out of 20. Appearance though, that's when I think it's really good, because this beer for me is the perfect colour. Look at the lacing of the glass. You know it's a big creamy beer. Just looking at the way that header's, what it's done to the glass, it's incredible. I think it looks great, so I'm giving it. I don't think you can get a beer that's going to look better than that, so I'll give it 10 out of 10. Flavour wise, well, for me, I think it's got a perfect balance. Sabro can very commonly over dominate a beer, and yes, there's no doubting there's a Sabro hop in this, because I can't think of a hop that's more distinctive than Sabro for me. But I think that when you get Sabro right, mixed with the Citra and the Idaho 7, you're getting a really cracking beer, and it just balances. The balance on this beer is absolutely perfect. So you get a big tropical hit, you're getting pineapple, you're getting citrus fruits in there, you are getting those little pockets of coconut, and you are getting that creamy Murray mint sort of flavour with a lime on the back end. And you're getting all of that, which is like almost, I'm describing the Sabro hop. But it's held back, it's held in check. The Citra's in there, that's just, I think the Citra's holding it in check, so you get a little bit more fresh, citrusy sort of tropicalness as well. And the Idaho 7, again, the pineapple is a little fresher. It's not too sweet, it's not too over-ripened. It's just about the right level. That's the flavour, and it's perfect. And unless, you know what you think, when you drink it, Sunshine is the name of this beer, and it's just the perfect title, because it's like sunshine in a glass. It really is. So flavour wise, I'm giving it a 37. That's a pretty high score. Value for money, £4, 500ml. This is a 6% IPA, 3 different hops. It's a cracking beer, so it's got to be a 10 out of 10 for £4 for a 500ml. I don't think there's many beers, you know, certainly on these Deya ones, they've all got 10s, because I think £4 for a 500ml can of really well put together craft beer, I think it's a 10 out of 10. And then my overall experience, well, I've had this strange relationship with beers with Sabro in it. Sometimes I have them and I think, oh, I hate Sabro. I don't like it. It's too dominant. It's too much. And sometimes I have it when it's mixed with other hops and it's not, the flavour's there, but it's sort of held back by those other hops. It's held in check a little bit. I think that's when Sabro really shines as I mean, it's a hugely aromatic sort of hop, Sabro. It's a dominant, big flavoured hop, but it's really well kept in check in this situation, and it makes it very drinkable. It's very sort of sunshiny, tropical. It's still quite light, even though it's got a real creamy body. And as I say, sometimes Sabro can get to the point where you think it's a little bit too. It gets to that sort of. The flavour's a little bit too strong, and that sort of a little bit loses the enjoyment and the refreshment of the beer, but it's kept in check well here. So 17 I'm giving it for overall, and the score is 87. So these beers from Deya, we've had an 88 for the better days, an 86 for something good 15, and this one 87. So they're all highly recommended beers. I think, getting to the point now where Deya are up there. I mean, they were in my top 3, but, they're getting to the point where they're my number 1 beer. Because they're very consistent. You just drink them and you just think, yeah, I know that they're being made really well, very well balanced. They know what they're doing. Never really had a bad beer from them. I do find their pale ales a little bit, not bad, but they don't bring anything to the party. But as soon as you get up to the 6%, your IPAs, that creamy mouthfeel comes in, and that gives you, straight away you're on a winner. And then they're really well balanced, and this is no different. And 87, again, huge score for the Deya. I mean, I feel like I'm almost should be sponsored by Deya, or they're not paying me any money for this. I just want to say that, but. All of these beers, 3 beers in a row I've had from Deya, and they've all in the high, sort of mid to high 80s. Really good score. They're Iron Maiden beers, so check it out. Sunshine. Now I know someone had Sunshine on the video. I can't remember your name, but you went to Deya and you loved Sunshine. I think you went there with your wife on your honeymoon, which seems a bit weird. My missus said when she read that comment, she said, "Well, if you'd taken me on our honeymoon to Deya, maybe we wouldn't be married anymore." And that's what she said. Well, we're not married anyway, but anyway, you get the gist of it. But, I think that's cracking. I mean, if you ever want to take your wife anywhere on a special romantic, go to Deya, and have some Sunshine IPA. It'll put a smile on her face, I'm sure. And I hope you've enjoyed this video. And until the next one, keep on rocking.